Hello friends, I'm happy you could join me today. My name is Yash from Fun at the Table. Welcome to my channel. Thought I'd record a video talking about the kind of content I make and why I want to talk about board gaming. Also want to show you a little bit of who I am and the values that drive me and this channel. Board games and tabletop gaming in general are a lot of work to create, produce, and distribute. Like most creative projects that require many people of various talents to come together, games are truly an achievement to get to anyone's table. I really believe that. Games can be fun for different people for different reasons. That's one of the best parts of board gaming. There's a game out there for everyone. Something I also believe. There are games out there for every season of life as well. Games you might enjoy today might not be games that you enjoy 5 or 10 years from now, and that's okay. There are also games you might enjoy depending on the mood you're in. That doesn't take away from the game at all. Now, this doesn't mean I'm not going to be critical of games. In fact, most of my content will be about rating games through a fun factor rating. This is something I concocted. I hope it makes as much sense to you as it does to me. This is not a numerical rating because I want to stay away from quantifying games using a numerical score on a linear scale. I really don't think it does games justice. So I'll show you what this rating looks like. It has 3 attributes: interaction, immersion, and cognitive load. With interaction, I'll talk about how much player interaction there is. So 1, 2, 3, whatever number of players. A game with high interaction, for example, is Anomia. With immersion, I'll talk about how immersed you feel in the world that a game creates. A game with high immersion, for example, is Sleeping Gods, right behind me there, or Lord of the Rings Duel. And a game with low immersion would be most games with a deck of playing cards, or this copy of Flip 7 that I have. With cognitive load, I'll talk about games at different levels of complexity or difficulty. How much brain space does a game take up, right? And I specifically chose that word for that reason, cognitive load. A game with high cognitive load is Dune Imperium, and a game with low cognitive load is Cabo. It's right behind me there. Games with low cognitive load can also be games with a lot of luck sometimes. So I'll kind of talk about that on in that attribute. Even though luck isn't an explicit attribute there, it's actually part of the cognitive load attribute. So I'll talk about that in more detail. Using all these attributes together, I'm going to talk about the fun factor of a game. So I'll break down what kinds of people or situations the game is good for. I'm also going to give some additional high-level notes on the cohesion, execution of a game, because I think that should be recognized, and how all the different mechanics of a game kind of fit together. The replayability of a game, the player counts that it might be good at, and even like the physical size of the box, because that's important sometimes. Like, we don't all have infinite room to store all of our games, and so that sometimes can factor in too, and that's okay. Then I'll leave it up to you to decide if you want to buy it, try it, whatever. What I love about tabletop gaming is that you can bring some people around a table and kind of just escape for a few hours in this shared world, right? Talking about immersion, in this shared world or space defined by these rules that you kind of just all agree to for a brief period of time. And then in that process, you share some laughter and joy, journeying through this world, and hopefully make some great memories doing so. Maybe deepen some relationships, and maybe even make some new ones. Quinns from Shut Up and Sit Down talked about this a while ago, and I deeply resonate with this idea. You can be silly for a few hours, play pretend, simulate an alternate reality, and it's pretty inexpensive to do so when you really think about it. No wonder we as humans have played games for a really long time through history. I love that. I love thinking about it like that. That's awesome. I've played games for a long time as well. My hobby really kicked off though in 2015, but I've been playing games long before then. I remember growing up and playing Chinese checkers or Sorry with my mom and being so frustrated with how she always managed to beat me, especially Chinese checkers. For some reason, it always felt more frustrating in this game. I was always 1 or 2 moves away from winning. But it didn't stop me from coming back though, with a fresh plan and a new take. even if I lost. China Checkers is a super fun game. I'll quickly explain it. So you have a bunch of marbles of different colors. It's in a two-player game. You're taking control of like three colors, and so the objective of the game is to get your marbles from the place you started to the opposite side in the exact same fashion. So all the red marbles here need to go all the way to the black marble side, and they need to fit exactly as they look, as the black marbles look. And the way you do that is you move your marbles to one adjacent space at a time. So on your turn, you can move one marble, one adjacent space, and then the other player takes a turn. And the cool thing about this game is that not only can you move one adjacent space, but if you are able to jump over a marble, and it can be your marble or another player's marble, and the color doesn't matter, you can jump over. And you can jump over as many times as you are able. So, for example, the second row of red marbles can jump over the first row of red marbles at the beginning of the game just once. But in the future, if you line up your marbles correctly, or if all the marbles are kind of in the center of the table, you're going to find opportunities to jump many, many times and get to the end. So super fun game. There's a kind of a slow beginning, hectic middle of the game, and kind of a tapered off ending of the game, which is also something Shut Up and Sit Down talks about a lot. So I think that this game has it. It's a very old game, I think. It's a lot of fun. I've also played chess a lot growing up, but it kind of strays away from the definition of game for some reason for me. But it's still great. I've also played many card games throughout my teenage years with friends and family. My family especially loves card games, especially trick-taking games. I've played my fair share of the classics like Monopoly and Scrabble. I've played dexterity games like Crokinole or Carom. My family actually had a Carom set at home. This time it was my dad who was unbeatable. He was really good at the flick. You can see kind of the person doing the flick in that picture there. I don't know. I could never figure it out. I also have two distinct memories, though, of a kind of a deeper curiosity and love for games. First, when I was maybe 7 or 8, I saw Scotland Yard being played, and my mind was absolutely blown that games could be deeply thematic with lots of little mechanisms and pieces and different things that you could do other than just dice chucking and playing a card or playing cards, right? It was just fascinating. It just looked so cool. Second, when I was in high school, my friends and I played a lot of cards because it was just quick and easy to play. And at one point, we broke up Monopoly Deal, which was a take on Monopoly I was pretty surprised by. It was addicting. It was a lot of fun. And again, it's super quick to play, so we played a lot. I just have good memories of playing that game. Third, when I was in third year at university, I remember running across the Dead of Winter game playthrough from Geek and Sundry, which is actually a YouTube channel, and having that mind-blown moment that I had with Scotland Yard all over again, this time as an adult, and especially as an adult with the means and the money to actually buy and try games by myself for the first time. I bought that game immediately and played it with my friends. That first playthrough was so much fun. Then I discovered the Resistance through that channel too, and ended up introducing that to my friends at the time, and the rest is history. This was a hobby I just wanted to dive into. I remember that summer playing Avalon nearly twice or thrice every week with groups of like 5 or more people. Also remember another house near the house that I lived in had a group that was into it too. I remember going over there on nights my group couldn't get together. It seemed like everyone was playing Avalon, which is just wild to me, or some kind of social deduction game, which this kind of experience I've never had, and it was wild. I love hosting people, so I remember making tacos or nachos whenever we had a game night. Yeah, just honestly great memories. My hobby really started then. I've been very inspired by countless people in the hobby as well. There's just so much content, and it's so cool. It's so cool. A lot of people think this is a niche hobby, and maybe it is, but it doesn't feel like it. And again, either way, whether it's niche or not, I'm in this, and I'm loving it. I want to give special mention to all the lovely people over at Shut Up and Sit Down, Rodney over at Watch It Play and the entire Watch It Play team, and Monique and Naveen over at Before You Play. they bring something to the hobby that just sparks joy for me. I think it's maybe their authenticity. That their content feels so true to who they are, and I just love watching their content. And they just seem like kind people, which is, I'm always love. I've been wanting to do the same that they do for a really long time. So here I am. So here's what I'm bringing to the table. I want to show you games that'll be fun at your table. I'm going to be talking about the fun in games a lot. So brace yourself. So to do that, to understand where I come from, let me just quickly talk about some of my values. Now that you kind of know my story and a little bit of who I am. So the first thing I definitely want to stay away from is making you feel like you're missing out. So FOMO, they call it FOMO, fear of missing out. You don't have to feel that. I don't want you to feel that. I think most of us in the hobby feel this a lot, and I want to help relieve some of that. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to hold back being excited about games, right? I just want to make sure I tell you everything I know about the experience of the game and then leave the decision up to you. Also, I'll always mention when videos are sponsored explicitly at the beginning, kind of like Monique and Naveen do. Second thing I will stay away from is numerically rating games on a linear scale. So this is the main reasoning behind the fun factor rating that I talked about before. I'm going to be talking about that a lot in a lot of my content. Always going to try to mention the publisher, designer, and artist on a board game. I think it's really important that the talent is recognized. Correct me in the comments if I ever get it wrong. I'm also going to refrain from using the word hate. Instead, going to say it's not for me. It's not for me. And the last thing I want to stay away from for now is games with AI generated art. I strongly believe that art is a human experience and an expression of emotion and thought drawn from the human condition. And as such, AI art is meaningless right now because it doesn't draw from lived humanity. It merely replicates that. This is until we have sentience, of course, but that's a conversation for another day. Yeah. So I want to showcase games that bring the same kind of joy that I've experienced throughout my years of board gaming with all kinds of people. This can come from all kinds of games too. It doesn't really matter where they fall on the Board Game Geek ranking or score, which is something we all obsess over, right? I want to share that same joy with you, that joy that I've experienced. Because let's be honest, right? Sharing is what we do best as board gamers. And this sharing is what fun at the table is all about. I want to share that fun with you. I hope to see you around the channel, and I hope you subscribe so I can see you again for more content. Bye!